James Gunn is not going to be saving the MCU with his Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Box Office Pro, which is a box office tracking website. They do long-range predictions for films. They have released their forecast for Marvel Studios' Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. If you just scroll to the very bottom of the article, we will get their predictions, and then maybe we'll go back up and look at why they got it. But it's at the very bottom. Keep going. Right there. There we go. Bolded. Comes out May 5th. And their opening weekend, so this is all domestic. This isn't global. But their opening weekend predictions are 120 million to 155 million. That is really, really bad.
That's bad.
I'll explain why that's really bad, because that's less than Guardians 2. And Guardians 2 is like, it's the Guardians 2 was
everybody admits was like, eh. So if you get
it was
not if there's no hype for 3, you're not going to bring back those people you lost.
So just to let you know, the number says that Guardians 2's Volume 2 opening weekend was 146.5 million. So they're saying that on the high end it could do 155. That's only 10 million more. That is less. I'm gonna wager that is less if you look at it based on inflation. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is 2017. So that was 6 years ago. And only on the high end 10 million. If it's on the low end, it's 20 million, 25 million less than Guardians Volume 2 opening weekend. Guardians Volume 2 did total domestic 389 million, 389.8 million. They're saying low end 288, high end 403. So it's looking like it's going to have a smaller domestic box office than the Guardians 2.
Its current projection, keep in mind, its current projection is only like 25 million more than Ant-Man 3 just did a few months ago. And we know that with these projections that the real number tends to be lower than the projection. So it can realistically be about 115, 120 by the time it comes out, which means that you're talking about a movie that's going to struggle to pass 500 million worldwide.
Yikes, dude.
Yeah. So to Jacob's point, Quantumania opening weekend 106.1 million. It did go on to do 212 domestic total, and that underperformed horribly. Like it had a big opening weekend comparatively for Ant-Man movies, but it then just dropped off a freaking cliff. 70% decline in week 2, just absolute got slaughtered. Week 3, 60% decline. So it was done. It was done, cooked.
I mean, it got to the point where you had the trades going like, why is the movie failing?
Yeah.
Must be the bigots.
They went from biggest opening weekend ever for the Ant-Man franchise to this. It's
literally the worst performing of all 3 Ant-Man movies. Yeah, and keep in mind, he's asking how much it's going to take to break even with these massive MCU budgets. Pretty much every movie has to do somewhere between 600 to 700 million just to break even.
500, I would say, like on the low end, depending on if they kept.
I think it's even more than that.
But well, I'm just saying, like that's like I agree with you. I think it's probably 600, 700 for sure, especially if it's like 250 production budget. But if they did happen to keep costs low or something like that, you could have like a 500 potential. But yeah, I think you're probably right on like 600, 700, or even more. There was a report that Avatar: The Way of Water made 500 million in profits, and that film.
That means that the break even for the Avatar 2 was actually 1.7 billion was their break even for that film.
Because their global box office was 2.3 billion and it only made 500 million in profit. So 2.3 minus 0.5, you get what Jacob was saying, 1.7,
which is a ridiculous break even, like almost 2 billion just to break even. Like, are you kidding me?
So let's pull up my little calculator here.
And he did it.
What's yeah, well, he said it had to be that, right? That's what he said, right?
That's what he said.
James Cameron said. So what we said at 1.7 was break even, right?
Yeah.
So
keep in mind, just real quick,
the production budget is was $700 million, 680. Insane.
Oof.
Dang, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So keep in mind
wild.
with Guardian. With Guardians 3, there's two things to consider here. One, like I said, the entire trajectory of the MCU is riding on this. Because if this film flops too, you already know that Marvel's is going to be a flop. And then with the mess going on for Jonathan Majors, like this is going to be an absolute mess if this thing doesn't hold water. And they only have a 2-week period because 2 weeks after this movie comes out, Fast 10 comes out, and Fast 10 is going to kill this film after 2 weeks.
Kill it really hard. Like it's going to.
Yeah, if it has. Dead. If it has a box office drop like Quantumania, it's done. It is. Yeah. It's done.
And then
the MCU is pretty much. I mean, the MCU is done too. I think.
Yeah.
Because the Marvels is going to absolutely just be slaughtered. The Marvels is going to get slaughtered by Dune, and Paul Atreides is going to just nuke it like the Shield Wall.
I can't believe they're putting it up against Dune. They
moved it there. They moved it to die. I
know.
Why didn't they just cancel and get the tax breaks?
Because they were in a prime summer spot where they would have had a good 2-week window to make as much as they could, and then it's like, nope, we got to push this back in between Dune 2 and The Hunger Games. So it's like, I think they eternally just gave up on that film. I think that's what they're doing. They don't want to admit it.
Well, I mean, look at what they've done. They went, Captain Marvel 2. Oh, man, we got to throw everybody in. This has to be an ensemble film. This is bad.
Yeah. Well, we have to bring in 2 actors from Disney Plus shows that nobody watched because everybody hates Brie Larson.
And Sam Jackson to make sure we get people at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to disagree here with what Volume Dealer is saying. He's saying it's over for Feige if, I guess, Guardians and Marvel's bombs. He's saying he's been a ghost for 4 years now. That's everything I've seen on Feige. That's the complete opposite. He's heavily involved with a lot of the plots. He's the one who's basically steering a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
He's the one who's coming up with the sitcom idea for WandaVision. He's the one who canned Doctor Strange cameo because can't have a white guy teaching the person about power. What's his quote to Rolling Stone?
Not to mention that what's her face, the Jessica Gal was saying that Kevin Feige was all on board with She-Hulk, even though you noticed that Feige really. Yeah, that's
he said it. He said he defended that show and its tone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was all about that, and he was like, "Yeah, this is exactly what I wanted."
But there's another thing about this Guardians movie too, which no one's really talked about. Is the image of James Gunn. Has he truly recovered image wise from the whole scandal from 5 years ago? Because the only movie that he's released. The only movie that he's released since then was the Suicide Squad film, which bombed as well. Then this is his second big superhero movie, and if back-to-back bombs. I mean, if this is the guy you're putting the entire DC cinematic universe behind for the next 5 years, I mean, I don't see this going very better for Warner Brothers than it's going for Disney right now.
There's reports that the Star Wars announcements are just basically bogus because we've never seen anything really come out of Kathleen Kennedy since Rise of Skywalker.
Well, Star Wars is one of those you have to wait, hold your breath because we got a lot of promises and it never showed up. Not that
my point here though is we're Star Wars, we're super. I'm like, is any of this James Gunn stuff happening? I mean, he's saying he's going into pre-production on Superman Legacy, and it's like I don't know. I don't understand why you would. I mean, I get I go back to the George Lucas story where the Fox guys were they really had faith in Lucas, but that's because he did American Graffiti, and it was wildly successful and made them a ton of money, and they had faith in him, regardless of what they thought about Star Wars. But the last, again, you point out the last thing Gunn did was the Suicide Squad, and we're about to see him. I think this Guardians film, if these box office pro predictions are any kind of accurate, that is not good. Those are bad numbers. It's going to be outperformed by a 2017 film that was mid. like was not even like high quality.
Guys, wait, I just looked it up. Don't forget, he also made Peacemaker.
Oh, the TV show, yeah.
Yeah, the awful show.
But yeah, the Suicide Squad did 167 million globally. It only did 55.8 million domestically. I know that was 2021. You still had the end of it was August 2021. There was still COVID stuff going down, but literally 2 months later in October, you had Venom.
Blew it out.
Venom: Let There Be Carnage did 500 million globally,
and that movie sucked.
Yeah, that movie really bad.
That was October 1. It was literally 2 months after Suicide Squad came out, and you're seeing 500 times what? 100 times 4. You're seeing like 4 times, right? You're seeing a 4-time box office differential there just domestically. 50 million to 213 million. So